So this is the presentation, the final PowerPoint presentation of one of my participants. So I will call her Aisha for her own protection, but she was nice enough to send me her PowerPoint afterwards and give me permission to use it. So I'll go over it really quickly. She started with her kicker, or her attention getter, which was very effective. Can you guess my hardest project in my lifetime? So obviously, being a mom was the answer to that. Then she moved on to her agenda slide. So in part 1, she's going to talk about the difficulty of being a working mom. In part 2, the happiness of having an angel at home, which I thought was very sweet. And finally, she will have a conclusion. So let's move on to part 1 of her presentation, the difficulty of being a working mom. So as soon as she began speaking, she said something that I was prepared for. You don't have a lot of spare time. So I've heard that before, and I feel like already I don't have a lot of spare time. So my anxiety levels started building at this point. And then she started talking about getting up at 8 o'clock and that being a luxury. So that scared me. But then we got to the final part where she began to talk about your new hobby, which equals housework. And then she started focusing in on how much of this is the responsibility of the wife. And yes, the men, help to an extent, but mostly this is all on you. And I think that's when they started noticing in the room that I was tearing up from anxiety at this point. So she quickly moved on to the benefits of being a working mom. So that's part 2 of her presentation. So she said, okay, no, here's the good news. Don't worry, Carrie. Happiness of having an angel at home. Being mad is not so bad. So, okay, this calmed me down quite a bit. You learn a lot of new things. His smile makes you forget every bad thing that happened during the day. And he helps at shopping. So, okay, at that point, I'd calmed down a little bit. But still, it's unimaginable to me at this point that the apparent difficulties and hardships could also be balanced so easily at the same time. So her conclusion, that she loves him so much and it's worth it. And I have to say, with a baby that looks like that, I think I would also. So this is Ege, and he is adorable. And he is also in the running to be a Gap baby. So you will be able to find the link below so you can vote for him. Thankfully, after her presentation and after all of the presentations, she came up to me and, was trying to console me a little bit. And so did almost all of the men in the class, because all of them also have children. And they told me, our lives changed a lot also. And, you won't be alone. And they really were incredibly, incredibly sweet and made me, and tried to make me feel a lot better. But I thought I'd share that presentation with you because a lot of people also are interested in what it's like to be a working mom here in Istanbul, because this is actually the first generation of women, especially in Istanbul, but also in Turkey, who have full-time jobs and who are mothers. The previous generations, there weren't so many working moms. And 2 generations ago, it was almost unheard of. So these are the women that I'm working with who are incredibly successful at their jobs. And they're really forging a path for the next generation and for their children to be able to continue. So hopefully theirs is the hardest burden, and hopefully things will become more supportive in the society. So I can talk a little bit more about that in this blog as you're reading below. But thank you for giving attention to Aisha's presentation, and I hope you enjoyed it and didn't cry like I did.